story. All right, let's
Good afternoon and welcome to From Where We Are, stories of news and culture for the lens of Southern California and USC. I'm Liam Wadey.
And I'm Kai Assad. We're coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center. It's Thursday, April 9th, 2026.
On today's show, we talk celebrity sightings at the Masters, UCLA's win at the NCAA tournament. At the NCAA tournament, and the drama surrounding the new critically acclaimed film, The Drama. All that and more on From Where We Are.
But first, today's headlines. Israel is open to ceasefire talks with Lebanon as the death toll from attacks exceeds 300 people. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that talks would focus on disarming Hezbollah and forming, quote, peaceful relations at Lebanon's request. This announcement follows Israel's largest and deadliest wave of airstrikes on Lebanon since the war with Iran began.
Melania Trump spoke to reporters today to respond to rumors of her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, saying, quote, I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at the New York City party in 1998. She discussed rumors and claims circulating that falsely betrayed her relationship with a convicted sex trafficker. The First Lady explained that her encounters with Epstein and Maxwell were purely coincidental, citing overlapping social circles in New York City and Palm Beach.
A California bill allowing conversion therapy survivors to pursue malpractice lawsuits moved forward after an April 7th state Senate meeting, following the U.S. Supreme Court overturning a ban on verbal conversion therapy. If passed, the measure would expand protections and rights for LGBTQ+ youth suffering from long-term trauma connected to conversion therapy.
Two of LA's tourist-favored attractions will close for renovations in the coming months. The Getty Center will close for a year beginning in March 2027 to undergo renovations, which include replacing its famous tram and building a new permanent programming space. The pits will close in early July for a $240 million makeover to modernize the facility before the 2028 Olympics. And those are some of the top stories in the news.
The Drama, a new movie starring Zendaya. The Drama, a new movie starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, released last Friday. It became A24's third biggest opening weekend after Civil War and Marty Supreme. But the plot twist that kicks off this drama has generated a fair share of controversy. Carla Cruz has the story.
The Drama, starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, is not your typical romantic comedy. The film, which centers around an engaged couple days away from their wedding, has been teasing a major plot twist in its trailers. The characters sit around a table and tell each other the worst thing they ever did.
Alright, so before we got married, we did this thing where we said the worst thing we've ever done.
Okay. I'll tell mine if we all do it. Promise?
Okay,
Are you serious?
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna order an Uber.
Emma, what the
Zendaya's character, Emma, shocks everyone. For now, let's say that this reveal creates a discussion around whether or not this movie is insensitive, or if it even should have attempted to tackle this topic. Senior screenwriting student Alexis Kim thinks that this moment in the film doesn't adopt the right tone.
Well, I walked away from it thinking that it was a little more on like the jokey side for me, like didn't really treat it with the seriousness that I feel like that subject has for a lot of people.
Don't worry, we won't tell you what Zendaya's character says, or did, or almost did, because we don't want to spoil it for you. But some critics' concern is not with the topic itself, but instead with the lack of material given to Zendaya. First-year fine arts major Pravina Javadi says the problem is in the casting.
You want to root for Zendaya, like as a person. Like I think she's like really likable, and she has like a lot of. She's just likable in general. Like I want Zendaya to win, but I think it'd have been kind of interesting if they kind of cast someone a little bit unlikable, and then it would have made the thing feel a little bit more conflicting.
Despite all the conflict around the topic, senior theater major Cameron Tate says you should just ignore the debate and go see the movie for yourself.
I didn't watch the trailer. I avoided the news. I think all of those things should happen. Of going completely blind. Don't let other people's opinions affect your own. I think that's something that we get really caught up in easily. No one is a self-thinker anymore.
Okay, fine. We'll tell you what Emma says that is so controversial. Just kidding. For Annenberg Media, I'm Carla Cruz.
When discussing podcasts, climate might not be the first thing that comes to mind in terms of topics. But for Electric Futures, a podcast by the USC Annenberg Center for Climate Journalism and Communication, every episode puts society's energy transition in the spotlight. Nicholas Coral has the story.
The topic had a live recording today at Wallace Annenberg Hall, data centers and their impact on the environment.
So we are now building data centers that are at the scale of the Hoover Dam.
That was Kelly Twomey Sanders, a professor of civil and environmental engineering, and one of the guests on the episode. While the discussion today centered around data centers, it was just a chunk of the larger conversation about the stories of the energy transition. The live episode marked the launch of the show's third season after one focused on lithium extraction by the Salton Sea, and another about microgrids. Allison Agston, one of the hosts and director of the Annenberg Center for Climate Journalism and Communication, wanted to bring a subject not often talked about in podcasts.
We thought that a podcast would be a great way to tell some climate stories that we're really not hearing elsewhere. And in the development of the podcast, my top priority was applying the climate communications best practices drawn from scientific literature that I teach in my work.
She partnered with Chip Zukowski, a former provost and professor of chemical engineering at USC. The two combine their differing backgrounds to try and engage listeners on climate change.
By listening to the podcast, you begin to get an understanding of both the human interest side of what's going on with the energy transition, but also the basic technical issues that are going on that undergird the society that we live in.
Sean Wilcock, one of the guests for the live recording, told the audience to continue questioning their surroundings.
People need to ask questions. That's the most important thing that I could leave behind today, is instead of jumping to conclusions, ask questions.
The first of 8 episodes began publishing today, available on most podcast platforms. For Annenberg Media, I'm Nicholas Corral.
electric bicycles and scooters are a mainstay on the USC campus. But how safe are they? Luke Merrill has the story.
Electric vehicles have become useful modes of transportation for students across the USC campus. While many athletes use electric scooters to get around, other students rely on bicycles and walking to move between classes. However, with fast-moving vehicles whipping around the campus on the same paths where people walk, controversy has grown over the safety of these vehicles. Students who ride electric scooters are often met with judgment by others as collisions are far too common. Dramatic arts student Lydia Berkeley shared her grievances with Annenberg Media.
I think they're terrifying. There have been multiple times where I almost get run over and die by a scooter because they're going like 50 miles an hour and are like less than a foot away from me. And if I move any inch of my body, then both of us are going down.
By contrast, other students believe electric scooters are a fine way of getting around for athletes, but aren't as keen on other students using them for transport. Here's undergraduate student Riley Cox.
I am in support of electric scooters and vehicles being on campus, especially for athletes because they probably have to go from practice to class faster than other people. Otherwise, I feel like using a bike or walking is more efficient. You can say hi to more people anyways because you're going slower.
USC Marshall student Greta Yerkes had a similar sentiment.
I'm in support of them for athletes, even though sometimes they kind of scare me and get a little bit too close, but I think it's fine for them. For other people, maybe not.
However, when discussing if any of the interviewees had ever seen a collision on campus, all three said yes, some adding that their friends who were walking had been hit by someone on an electric scooter. Here's Yerkes again.
I do know people who have been hit by scooters.
And after asking if Riley Cox had ever been hit by a scooter, here's what she had to say.
I have not, but I know people that have, and I've seen lots of people fall off of them, trying to whip a turn too fast.
For organizations looking to improve pedestrian safety, electric vehicles bring up unique problems. Damian Kevitt, founder of the nonprofit Streets Are For Everyone, says the e-vehicles involved in collisions could be illegal.
We don't know statistically whether or not it's legal e-bikes that are the problem, or whether it's illegal or what are commonly called e-motos, which are out-of-class electric bicycles, ones that are much more powerful than a regular e-bike.
Berkeley, the dramatic arts student, thinks banning electric vehicles might just be the solution.
Honestly, yes. I feel like people who are on the scooters have too high of an ego, too.
And as for the athletes?
I feel like usually they're the ones that are the most reckless with it, and so I feel like they should be banned from it because why do they think that they can't walk like the rest of us?
So, the next time you're walking around the USC campus, be mindful of the students rushing to class on their electric vehicles. And if you're on a scooter, be careful of the pedestrians. For Annenberg Media, I'm Luke Merrill.
I'm Liam Wadey. We're glad you're with us for From Where We Are.
And I'm Kai Assad. It's 12 minutes past the hour. Coming up, we discuss what the women's basketball team at USC could do to secure a championship next year, and we sit down with Zulo to talk about his performance for Live from the Halo. Stay with us.
UCLA women's basketball won their first NCAA national championship title last Friday. They beat the South Carolina Gamecocks by 28 points. The win was a perfect ending to their 37-1 season. So, what does USC's women's basketball have to do to compete? Taylor Jenkins has the story.
We're still digesting the results of the men's and women's NCAA tournament. With UCLA coming out victorious, the Trojans must find a way to rebound for the next season. Daniel T. Durbin, professor of communication, says the Bruins have that certain something that winning teams need.
You have to be playing for each other, and that is such a difficult skill to teach, and it's one that the players themselves have to build together. And UCLA clearly had that. In the championship game, they clearly had that. And they had scores all across the board from all of the various players. Everybody played as a team. It is, the coaching and coaching to win there are about personalities and blend.
And the Bruins coaching staff leaned on their veteran lineup to make the plays, Durbin says.
An outlier. But one of the things that they did was really emphasize their senior talent and keep the seniors on the floor all the time. And they had some outrageously good players who may not have gotten the national credit because UCLA was not seen as being one of the 2 or 3 absolutely top teams, even though they were winning throughout the season.
Which, unfortunately, was a different case for the Lady Trojans, who ended the conference this year 9-9. With a new season ahead, it's time to refocus. Recruitment will be key in this next chapter for USC if they want to knock off the reigning champions. Winning is about the personalities on the floor and how they unite.
The new talent needs time to work together. It's not even necessarily time to develop skills. They need time to work together so that their skills can blend. And yeah, Jazzy looks great. A great hope for the future.
With young talent on the rise and a star on the comeback, the future for USC women's basketball looks promising. The hurt this season was the loss of phenom Juju Watkins, still recovering from an ACL injury.
Juju's a tremendous talent, and so losing that and losing her dynamic with the rest of the team it makes it really, really difficult to compete at the highest level.
Even with a devastating season, the future remains bright for the women of Troy. The real question is whether they can channel this loss into a better product or allow it to carry over into the next season. And this starts with the next generation.
In the plan. So in terms of coaching and in terms of potential for the future, of course, any national championship brings you a better quality of player will want to join your school because you won a national championship. So that's a good possibility. But again, they used up a whole bunch of players who will not be back next year. So we'll see how they rebuild.
And USC might be going up against a less strong Bruins team. They'll be taking a hit with the loss of their senior lineup. But with their newfound NCAA championship status, Durbin says,
in their past, I think their recruiting is going to be a lot easier. And USC, we've got enough talent that looks good that recruiting probably should not be that hard for us. And
it's going to be a battle of the rosters for the next season, but the stress is on how each team will rebuild to prepare themselves for the competition ahead. For Annenberg Media, I'm Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah. Yeah.
For our next Live from the Halo interview, we're pumped up to welcome in the musical artist Zulo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
So, we're gonna listen to a snippet of your song "Life Is Mine" right now.
I could do anything, but then I found you back in this loop again. 'Cause I pour my heart out too much. I push my passions aside.
So that was "Life Is Mine" by Zulo. So can you tell us a little bit about this song that you made? Because at the very beginning of your Live from the Halo performance, you said the song is about taking back your ambition and like creativity. So could you elaborate a little more on that for us?
Yeah, I finished up this song last summer. I actually had studied abroad with Annenberg in London, stayed through the rest of the summer to finish up that song and 3 others.
Mm-hmm.
But I had actually written it a year before, and it was just kind of about, like, kind of what you said, this idea of refocusing myself and, like, this music career as the center of everything rather than taking my own ambition and using it for other ambitions and other people's careers in that way.
Yeah, so I know you are a public relations student here
Yeah.
at USC, and you're a music industry minor. So
true.
can you tell me how that's like balancing both of those?
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the Annenberg opportunities that we got, but in terms of balancing the major and the minor, I feel like I have a lot of like relationships with those music industry professors, and they give me a lot of clarity and guidance on the music industry facets of what I want to do. But I think the grounding in the PR program has been really helpful, just in terms of like refocusing kind of everything as PR. It's kind of like a little joke that I say outside of school. It's like everything's PR at the end of the day. It's like everything that you believe, everything that a brand wants you to think ends up being PR. And also I think the branding on this EP was super strong.
Yeah.
And I think part of that was like grounded in those ideas that from classes and stuff too.
Yeah, can you tell me a little more about the branding of the EP?
Yeah, well, I actually just put on this. This was not intentional. I know we're on radio, so no one can see, but I'm wearing an orange shirt, which is not intentional for the radio show, but it's a very orange EP. I tried to like make it super, like not monochromatic, but like centered around a color, which I found a lot of other like big marketing jobs that I've done, like Barbie with pink and Brat with green and all these things. I really wanted to have like a central color. And that ended up bleeding through the rest of my work, and now I'm continuing on with that as well. Beyond that, just, I don't know, I think, I mean, I wiped all my socials and just kind of almost like restarted the career with a more like focused path, which was really nice to do.
Yeah, and then you also came out with a music video for your other Live from the Halo song, Rare Hearts, and it's in a desert, there's windmills, there's a claw. Can you tell me about the creative process of making this music video?
Yeah, the music video it came together very quickly. My friend Tony, he's been shooting my content now for a couple months, and we ended up, I gave him kind of a Pinterest board with some ideas. I had been to this windmill spot kind of with like the subject of the song, and I wanted to revisit that spot, but through the lens of like after the song had already come out about this person, and revisited the spot through like the lens of the song. I just gave him the Pinterest board. We went out there. It was like an 1.5-hour drive out to like Palm Springs, and we like went around, picked the spot that we were gonna film in, and then kind of like run and gunned it. The clock kind of relates to that first verse, talking about, you know, the relationship coming to an end and like all this timing and scheduling, and I don't know, it was just kind of fun. It was a little bit of a run and gun impromptu thing, but I ended up really liking the product.
Pinterest board does wonders, huh?
I'd love a Pinterest board.
I
Pinterest
love a
board for
Pinterest
everything.
board too.
Pinterest board for everything.
And can you tell us a little bit about what Rare Hearts is all about?
Yeah, when I was in London, like basically from January till August of last year, I had just gone through like probably the first like major breakup or first big breakup of my young life, and I was just kind of like, it was kind of like reflecting on that time and like trying to get over it through this song. Kind of the essence of the song was kind of like, we'll revisit this when like the time is right, but right now it isn't. It's kind of like a closure. It's a closure song at the end of the day.
Yeah, so let's revisit our own heartbreaks and let's take a listen to Rare Hearts by Zulo. Let's check it out.
I wrote the chapters, but you read my mind. The schedule says we're out of time. Rare hearts, rare hearts. I board the flight, picture your hand in mine. I'll play our memories till our lives restart. But until that, let's dance. I'll play our memories till our lives restart. Until our lives restart. I'll play our memories till our lives restart. Until our lives restart. I'll play our memories till our lives restart. Until our lives restart. If I had known that yesterday I'd be staying up late just to get away from dreams.
And that is Rare Hearts by Zulo. So, Zulo, can you tell our listeners where they can find your music?
Yeah, any streaming platform that you listen to music on, Zulo, Zuloh, also socials, Zulo Music, wherever you engage socially.
Awesome. So engage with Zulo's music, y'all.
Engage with me socially on the platforms of media in which you do that.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you
here.
for having me, guys. Sweet.
And that's all we have for on today's episode of From Where We Are. David Sosa executive produced today's show. Daishalyn Satcher and Carla Cruz produced today's show.
Our audio director is Leslie Berenstein Rojas. Grayson Solomon runs our soundboard. Kayla Shu is our live stream manager. And Derek Renfro composed our theme music. We had help from Kara Williams, Tyler Kuzlaka, Alice Thaxton, Mia Schlenker, and Logan Achai.
Thank you so much for joining us this week for our Annenberg Radio News Show. Subscribe to From Where We Are wherever you're listening right now. And follow us on Instagram at Annenberg Radio. I'm Liam Wadey.
And I'm Kai Assad. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us next week for
From Where We Are.